Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? So, I don't know about you, but I have been feeling this past weekend, it was the August 8th Lionsgate portal. And I don't know about you, but I have been really feeling the energy of it. It was really, really intense for me. And actually, what's very interesting is for some people, this is like the time of harvest where they're really like harvesting the abundance and harvesting the fruits of the labor and really seeing abundance everywhere. And actually, I felt something similar as well, just energetically. I felt the abundance that is around me, and yet I felt like what I had went through the past few days is more like a coming face to face with areas and places where I'm not letting myself take in the abundance and where I'm not letting myself receive fully the abundance. So actually, the past few days has been kind of hard for me in terms of just energetically and like how I've been feeling. It was intense. Okay. And today I've really kind of self-coached myself through it and just sat with it. And I had such a huge epiphany and a huge realization that I want to share with you. So basically, this past weekend, there has been a lot of just intense energy and lots of places where I'm seeing I'm not in the most I'm not like showing up in the most abundant way. And here are some examples. So I realized that even after 5 years of being a life coach, I still kind of low-key feel embarrassed about what I do. Like I would have this week past weekend, I was at a friend's wedding and I was like, I've had several instances where I had to introduce to people and tell them about what I do. And I realized that I still kind of feel embarrassed about letting people know that I'm a life coach, especially if it's to people who don't really know about the coaching industry and have, no idea about the online education world. I find myself kind of like making myself shrinking a little bit and feeling a little bit embarrassed about what I do. So it's like, that's interesting of like an instance where that's showing up for me. Another way is over the past weekend, I also had several people shout me out and reach out to me via social media, just letting me just like either promoting my work or introducing myself to their people, or they're reaching out to me and telling me how much my work has changed your life. And somehow I felt like this resistance, like this overwhelmed energy of like, oh my God, so many people are reaching out to me. This is too much. And to the point where I just feel like I needed to take a break this past weekend and feeling like I just don't want to respond to people at all and don't want to respond to them at all. So that's like a second example. Okay. Third example is where I have a client who is asking to renew with me. And usually I get to these things pretty fast. And the past few days, I find myself just continuously procrastinating on sending out that email. And so I would like procrastinate, keep a hold, stalling it on sending out email, telling them about my customized package and what working with me next will look like. Somehow I just keep on procrastinating on that. Okay. And the last example is where, so I was at that friend's wedding and a lot of people actually come up to me and they're like, you look familiar. And, or they're like, I see you on my feed all the time. And I felt like I already know you so well. Even though we haven't actually met in person, or we met like many years ago, right? These people that come out and when they said that, my first initial response is I was surprised and I was shocked. And so I'm like looking back, and today I'm just doing a reflection and I'm reflecting on all these instances where this happened. I'm like, huh, these are all the ways of how I am, like unconsciously and subconsciously resisting my ability to receive the good into my life and resisting my ability to allow in more abundance, right? And just like letting myself get paid, letting myself receive the compliments from people, letting myself really own my value and own what it is that I do. And and at the same time, there has been so many kind of like a bunch of different projects I'm also working on in the background, and I still haven't gotten back to them. And so this whole weekend has been filled with like lots of social events while feeling guilty about not getting my things done and while having like a long to-do list I still haven't attended to, right? And like with all of these ways of how I'm seeing that I'm resisting abundance, basically, I was just in a whole mind drama this morning. And I find myself starting to judge myself. And I was like judging myself for not being in the right energy. I was thinking that, oh my gosh, Shirley, you are energetically pushing these things away. Why can't you just let yourself receive the abundance? Why can't you show up for your people? Why can't you let yourself receive the compliments? Why can't you, really, why are you procrastinating on that email? Why are you procrastinating on all the things that you know if you just get to, they will really move the needle forward in your business? Why are you doing all of these things? Why can't you just get into a better mood? Why can't you just get into a better energy so that you can actually show off for these things, right? And I think another layer to this is also the fact that I really value me being in integrity. So it's like I really, really want to be in the right energy before I write that post, before I send out that email. If I'm feeling a little like resistant, overwhelmed, stressed, I'm like, this is not good, right? Like taking actions and doing things from this place is not good. And yet, I've been trying to change my energy, trying to get myself into the quote unquote, like I'm doing air quotes here, trying to get myself into the air quote right energy this whole weekend and the past few days, and still hasn't been working. And then I realized that what if it's the fact that I'm trying to get myself into the right energy that is not working? Do you see? Because forcing myself to feel better, and this is what I realized, I'm not letting myself feel bad. I'm not letting myself feel how I actually want to feel. I'm like forcing myself to feel better. I'm thinking that I have to be in the right energy. I have to feel better before I do anything. And this is making me feel so much guilt, right? Because I'm like, why aren't you in the right energy? Why aren't you feeling good? Look at all the things, all the amazing things that's in your life. Your life is amazing. So why aren't you feeling good? Why aren't you on top of your work? Why aren't you on track with what you said you were gonna do? Right? And this is making me feel the guilt. It's like the me judging myself for not being in the right energy and for not doing the things that I thought I should be doing. It's making me feel guilty. It's making me feel judgment. So much judge, like I'm like judging myself. And actually, yeah, and yeah, there's definitely a little bit of shame there as well, of like shaming myself that I'm not getting my work done and shaming myself that I'm not energetically in the right place as a coach, as like I'm supposed to be here for my people, right? I'm supposed to be in the right energy, but yet I'm not. And then just like all of this, and I realized that it's the fact that I'm trying to make myself feel better and I'm not letting myself feel bad. And it's so funny because this is like everything I always say that this is everything that I teach people that I help people work through. And yet a lot of the times I need to be the person to take my own medicine as well. And then, so I had like this huge shift this morning. I was like in such a tantrum, throwing such a tantrum and just like such a self-pity mode and just going like everything is wrong. I hate my life. Why can't I just, why can't you just get your shit together, Shirley? What the heck are you doing? Right. And I realized I'm just going to let go of that. I realized this. And I'm like, okay, so let's just try it out, right? Like, what would actually happen if I shifted my energy and shifted my thought instead of telling myself that I should be in a better mood, I should feel better? What if I just tell myself that I can feel whatever the fuck I want? What if I really let myself be in this place of like, I get to feel however I want and do whatever I want and just let that be my truth because actually it is my truth. What if I'm going to stop trying to make myself feel better. I'm just going to let myself feel whatever the fuck I want. And I kid you not, all of a sudden, when I truly let myself step into this belief and really feel the truth of it in my body, when I tell myself I can feel whatever the fuck I want, all of a sudden, in my body, I feel liberated. I feel so much more free of like, oh my gosh, I can stop trying to behave a certain way now. I can just be. I can just be myself. And sometimes I'm going to show up feeling bad. Sometimes I'm going to show up feeling committed. Sometimes I'm going to show up feeling like I'm quote unquote in the right energy. But all of that is amazing. All of that is perfect. And when I feel liberated, what I did next, because I went through a little bit of the self-coaching model, when I feel liberated and freed, naturally, I'm like, oh, wow, now I actually want to do some work. Now I actually want to get some work done because I genuinely want to, and I'm not, creating a to-do list and telling myself I should do all of these things. I'm like, what feels right for me intuitively today to do? What feels right for me intuitively today to do? And so I did that. And this is also why now I'm recording a podcast. I'm still getting my work done. And in fact, I'm actually it's so ironic, isn't it? Because now I feel like I'm in the right energy, like air quote, right energy to do work. But I had like the only way I was able to step into the right energy was when I let myself to feel whatever the fuck I want. Like I just let myself decide to feel whatever I want. And this is such a freeing feeling because now I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to get back to work. Now I can step out of my own mind drama of judging myself and criticizing myself and low-key shaming myself. I can just step into the work and what it's all about. And I find this a lot, especially when I think a lot of us and a lot of you listening are heart-centered people who genuinely want to do good in this world, who want to make an impact in the causes that you care about, who want to show up in a powerful way because you genuinely want to help people, because there is a mission that you really want to connect with, and that is why you do what you do, right? That's why you have your business. That's why you have your side hustle. That is why you are presenting yourself online, is because you want to connect deeper to the causes that matter to you. You want to connect deeper to the mission that you really care about. And if you feel like you're not that connected to your mission, right, then that's another topic that we can talk about. Really um clarifying again with your why and why is it that you do what you do, because that's so important in really helping you show up. And this is what I want to offer. It is totally possible to still show up and do your work, still show up online, and still be able to do your work regardless of how you feel, right? An example is that I think about doctors. If a doctor is not sitting around like waiting until they feel better before they show up for their patients, because before they go to work and they're at work helping their patient, they're not like, let me get myself into the right energy first, then I can help people. And right, like if you're a physician and let's say you happen to have a very shitty day and you're walking on the street and someone fainted, you're not gonna be like, okay, I'm in a bad mood today, so I'm not going to help. Right? A lot of the times when those things happen, and I want you to get into the like really let yourself imagine that scenario. What do you think is going on in that doctor's head? What do you think they're thinking about? In that moment, almost like they're not even thinking about how bad their day was like. They were just like, oh my gosh, I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, I can help. Right? They're like at the scene, they're helping that person in that moment. They're in their mind, they're only thinking about how they can help the person. Right? And I think it is in those moments where it's where like you can really separate your personal feelings of how you feel about yourself and what you're going through. And in that moment, you can just be completely there, and your knowledge and your skill sets will speak for itself, regardless of how you feel about it, and regardless of all the mind drama and all the things that you feel about your work and your value and all of those things. Because when the mission to help people is so important, you're just there helping people, right? You're just there sharing about your art. Like your art literally speaks for itself, regardless of how you feel about it. Your role is just to continuously to post, knowing that this piece of artwork today is going to really inspire someone and is going to really help make someone's day better today. Do you see this is the difference? And so um and when you really think about it, the difference between the doctor and you, if it's hard for you to show up online and it's hard for you to show up for your work and show up for your people, is that the doctor genuinely believe that what they do is important and that what they do is a necessity, regardless of how they feel. They're not even thinking about how they feel. Like that's not even what is important. They're just so connected to their mission, and they know that it is a necessity for them to show up in that moment because someone needs help, right? Because they have the medicine, right? It's like if you're trying to cure a disease and you're feeling shitty about your day, and someone is having that disease and someone is on the verge of dying, you would be like, oh my gosh, you'll run to them, right? You'll be like, I have the medicine, I can help you. This is the same thing. I have this art piece that is going to make your life feel better. I have this thought that I need to share today that if you just hear it, it will really help you feel better. It will really change your perspective of how you can think about your life, right? And so this is the idea that you can really, really think about. And this is the reason why you do not have to get yourself into a good energy, not even a air quote aligned energy in order for you to show up. I know that this is a little bit counterintuitive to what I've been talking about, and yet I think there is so much power as well in showing up and doing the work anyways, regardless of how you feel. So and in the words of Simone, so I'm a huge fan of Simone Sou's work, and she's an amazing marketing teacher. And she has three questions that she offers for people when deciding on if you can post this content or not. There's three questions that you can ask for yourself to decide whether or not you should post this idea, whether or not you should post this piece of content, whether or not you should post, you should publish this podcast. And so she uses these questions more for like content creation, but I think this can be applied to just showing up in your work in general, right? About like sending out that proposal to that client, to that potential client, or whether it is showing up online, or whether it is do your client work today, or whether it is make peace today, make art today, and let people know about it. Three questions to ask yourself to decide whether or not you want to post, to decide whether or not you want to do this work. Question one, is it coming from love? Is showing up online today, is sharing this idea today coming from love? Is this idea coming from love? Is sending out that email coming from love? Number two, is it coming from your truth? Is it coming from what is true to you? Right? Number three, is it going to help one person today? So if you have an idea that you want to share, but you're not sure if you should share about it. You're not sure if, you're in the right energy or whatever to talk about it. If you're not sure if this is going to help someone, if you're not sure if like this is valuable, 3 questions. Is it coming from love? Is it coming from my truth? And is it going to help one person today? And if it's yes, yeah, go ahead and hit publish. If it's yes, then it is meant to be heard, and your message is meant to be heard by people out there, right? You can definitely do work from an angry place with love. Like there are a lot of people who are advocating and who are standing up for what they believe in, and there's a lot of power in being angry. Like there are a lot of things like you should be angry about, right? You can do your work even when you're having a shitty day. You can still show up and talk about what you believe in even when you're having a shitty day, because it's almost like a skill that you practice to almost get yourself into like this selfless place. Because interestingly, even when you think that, what you say doesn't matter, people don't care about you, in a way, it can still, it's like, it can still be, quote unquote, selfish to be here. And actually, when you just like zoned into love and tuned into what's actually important and your mission, it's actually to step out of your mind drama and just focus on helping your people. So you can totally do work from an angry place. You can totally do work when you're having a shitty day. You can post as long as it is your truth. You can post as long as it is what is true for you, right? And you can do something in your work today that helps one person. This is such a simple way to filter yourself and to decide whether or not you want to show up online and whether or not you want to do your work. Is it coming from love? Is it coming from a truth? And is it going to help one person today? And notice you can do all 3 of these, like these 3 filters that do not necessarily require you to be in a good energy. And that is what is really important, because it's kind of impossible that every single day, all the time, you are showing up to do your work and you are showing up in your business from a good place, from a high vibe, feel good place all the time. Of course, it would be amazing if you can do that. And a lot of the times, what might actually be more helpful is we also understand that there is duality of everything and there is contrast of everything. Sometimes life just might feel boring. Sometimes you might just feel blah about everything. Sometimes you might just feel shitty and crappy about everything. And you can still show up and do your work because you are connected to your mission and you are connected to what is important and the reason why you're doing what you do. All right, have an amazing day. I hope that this is helpful for you. Show up today no matter how you feel. And even if it is one picture of you, even if it is one word, even if it is one sentence, if it is coming from love, if it is your truth today, and if it is going to help one person today, then that is enough. All right, have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.